All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get going here. All right, as you can see, obviously, U.S. stocks managed to have a relatively solid day on Friday, pretty much up across the board. Really kind of for the most part, the week last week, we held in relatively solid with all of the doubt, that's going on, government shutdown, potential of the U.S. debt ceiling not being extended. So, like I said, we've also obviously seen a lot of the data not come out. I think what we're going to end up seeing is in a couple months, in a couple weeks, when things are resolved, assuming that it's in a couple weeks' time, we're probably going to see one big just data bundle release, and it's going to be just what should be probably a massive day for us, because we'll see probably 2 or 3 weeks of data kind of all released in one day. So really looking forward to the possibility of that and really seeing what happens. But right now you can see markets are a little bit scared this morning, going into or coming through the Asian session and going into the U.S. session. U.S. S&P futures down 11 points early this morning. Obviously, there's still some nerves around, after a weekend. Nothing's really happened. So I think it's really, starting to drag on a little bit now. We had the House Speaker Boehner that really hardened his stance over the weekend, saying the U.S. could end up in default unless Obama negotiates. So everyone's still trying to walk a very hard line. It doesn't really look like, the next day or two is going to offer us a solution. So I think that's why the market's really still showing some signs of softness at the moment. So you can see there, Asian markets pretty much down across the board. The Nikkei down around 1%. Australia down 0.9%. Hang Seng down 0.5%. So we're still under a little bit of pressure, but it doesn't really feel like the market's scared yet. All right, we had 3,000 car worker employees back to work today after NUMSA accepted a wage offer for SA car industry. That's really positive. We also had ICASA, which is looking to that it is cutting call termination rates from over the next 3 years, from 40 to 20 in 2014, from 20 to 15 in 2015, and from 15 to 10 in 2016. This morning, do not forget that it's going to make a difference in all of the phone companies, cell phone companies and phone companies. So Telkom, Vodacom, MTN. I think especially, obviously, Vodacom and MTN should be under pressure on the back of that this morning. More specifically, from what I understand, is that it'll affect Vodacom the most. I actually think there's some positive effects for the likes of Telkom, although obviously they also hit, in some instances, in the negative effect. So, I think this is a big thing. It's great for the consumer, but it's definitely not good for their margins. So especially considering Vodacom is earning, I still believe it's around close to 90% of their earnings are coming from South Africa. So that's very important. All right, a lot of stocks going ex-div out this morning. We've got Discovery at 65 cents, Sasol at 13.30, First Rand at 81. That's quite a solid divvy. RMH at 105, Aspen at 157, and RMI at 55 cents. So don't forget those this morning, guys. Couple big ones, obviously. So with Sasol, First Rand and RMH. So just keep that in mind on the open here this morning. All right, very little out today on the market data front. We had Japanese leading index, which is basically in line, and then we've got the Syntex Investor Confidence Index out of the Eurozone. So very little today out on market data front. Let's jump into the maps. All right. First thing I want to have a look at here is the Aussie. We'll jump into 30-day here. You can see there. We talked about this the other day. It's sort of the level where we really broke out from, came back down to test the other day, couldn't drop below it. This is definitely some sort of a level right here around 94.20, 39,420. You can see there this morning we opened right at it. We kind of bounced up off of it first thing here this morning. I think if that drops, the next sort of level we're going to look at will be somewhere. Sorry, in fact, let's zoom out a little bit because I'm wrong on that line. That line is somewhere up here. So there's definitely some support around. I think 38,800. Or sorry, just call it 38,000. Yeah, 38,800. We'll call it roughly, where there's kind of a next level of support there in the Aussie on the short term. So, like I said, I think if we drop this morning, if we can drop into the 93 handle and stay there for a little while, I definitely think there's some more downside momentum to the Aussie, which has held up just unbelievably well in the face of all of this. The pullback we've seen in the States and on all of the nervousness. All right, I just want to show the gold price here, looking at the gold spot gold price, and you can see here we're really making a beautiful head and shoulder pattern, which I really expect to. I mean, I guess there's two ways you could look at it. You could look at that being the right shoulder, or you can look at this being the right shoulder. Maybe we move out a couple more days over here and then we drop it. But either way, I would be looking for a drop below sort of 1280 on the gold price to really take us down into the 1100 handle on the gold price. I think gold shares are kind of, all showing you that that's going to happen. You had them trading incredibly weak. You can see here the likes of Harmony, which really dropped support here, I think, on Friday's session. And it's hard to see there because it's just a little blip because we really, I think we closed kind of right as we opened, so there's no bar. But we closed at 32.50, which if you see here on this day, where there's that one little drop of this support, we closed higher than that, closed at 32.74 on that day. So we made a new closing low, multi-year closing low on Harmony on Friday's session. It is a bit nerve-wracking to short some of these things down here on such low prices after they've fallen so much. But technically this is definitely right. You can see the gold price technically also looks like it's under pressure and it's going to go lower. So I think that Harmony also can fall significantly from here as well as some of the others. All right. Standard Bank, obviously you can see Standard Bank kind of making a little bit of a continuation pattern here. Really the previous closing highs were up around 2170. We closed at 2242 on Friday, so a new all-time closing high in Standard Bank. And if we just shorten it up a little bit here, you can really see from the other day where we were really flagging here. We've totally broken out of that flag pattern, and now we're kind of looking more into a continuation pattern. The sort of intraday spike up got us all the way to 2350, but we're definitely above closing highs. I think this thing's turned into more of a continuation pattern. I look to see us continue to move higher on Standard Bank. All right, let's look at Nedbank. And let's look at a 30-minute on Nedbank. Nedbank, you can see here, obviously, just really trading incredibly well considering the weakness in some of the international markets and things. And we're really just consolidating out to the right and looking to make a breakout. I'd call it. I'd really feel comfortable in calling it if we got to a 208 handle that it would be off to the races. But generally above 207.50, I think you could, if it can stay there for a little bit, you can probably call this thing a breakout as well. So watch closely here. I really think that if these things don't come lower over the next session or two, then they're probably going to pop these Nedbank and Standard Bank. Vodacom I wanted to show, just to show, we really failed at the attempt of this to break out from all-time highs. You can see there, almost right at the number in terms of where the wick ended. Pulled back hard that day into the close, and then obviously on Friday we gave it up hard. I think there were some rumors in the market already that we were going to reduce these call rates. What I'd like to have a look at here is just this sort of this level at 23 is kind of significant, really. Going back to, that you can see where we broke out there, and then we've really spent the last maybe 10 sessions above it. But 23 is definitely a bit of a level here in in Vodacom. So if we drop 23 today, I really think that this thing, at least at the very least, will come back and kind of test maybe trend support, which is quite a ways down. Maybe we call it 118, or what we know is another significant level here in Vodacom, which is around 117, going all the way back to earlier in the year. So I think Vodacom definitely will probably drop 123 this morning. So first level of support maybe somewhere between 117 and 118 on the pullback. All right, and then the last one I'm going to show here is Impala. I know we looked at this a few days back. I just wanted to show this again because yesterday, Friday, we really put in a heavy day. 120 obviously was a significant level. As we came up, tested it, failed, then we broke out there, came back and tested it to push higher. We couldn't really drop 120 on a closing basis. You can see we closed right at 120 2 days in a row, and then Friday we properly dropped 120. I think if we go back here a little bit, there's not a lot to look at in terms of support for Impalas. So I would really be looking for a nice pullback, maybe a high to this channel kind of move, which is about $10 below 120, which would take us down closer to 110. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.